bird registration ends September 7th.
Start planning today to celebrate the 40th Equip Exposition Trade Show
This October 17th through the 20th
in Louisville, Kentucky. Expo is the best place for landscapers to find the latest equipment, tools, and technology to get more productive and efficient. And then you can go into our 30-acre demo yard and test the products for yourself. Explore new business opportunities in one of our 50-plus education sessions and learn firsthand from experts in landscaping, hardscaping, irrigation, pool installation, tree care, and outdoor lighting. And don't miss the new Thursday night arena concert with Third Eye Blind and Dylan Scott. Also, there's our UTV test track and our main stage events with top-notch speakers like Brian Fullerton, all for just $25 per person if you register during our early bird sale. And you can even save 50% off that price with the coupon code BRIAN. The early bird registration ends September 7th.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, guys, super excited about having another great guest interview lined up for you guys on the show. I do not take it for granted that you guys take time out of your busy days to join us on the podcast. A lot of the time, we actually film these or record these podcasts, I should say, on weekday afternoons. Usually Thursdays are my coaching call day and our podcast kind of media day, if you will. Usually, just to be candid and honest with you, usually Thursday's like the one day of the week where the least number of things that can go wrong do go wrong. Usually it's always on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and usually by Thursday we're tapering the week and just wrapping up our 410s. So if I'm going to, ensure that I do have the opportunity to do a podcast with you guys that call in and make sure that I'm taking your time, and appreciating it, I should say, I want to make sure that we're doing these on Thursdays. And so, again, I love having you guys on the show. I love hearing your guys' stories. Not a huge lengthy intro here. We're going to get my boy Seth Kessler on the podcast here today. He's all the way down in West Virginia, Ansted, if I'm not mistaken. And he's got a great story to tell. A lot of you guys know Seth in the industry, and I think he's been on a podcast before. I know I've done a couple coaching calls with him before, but either which way, I know you guys are really going to enjoy the show. Hey, if you guys are listening into this podcast real time, don't forget to get your Equip Expo ticket. That registration is going to end next week with the early bird discount. You can still get a ticket moving forward through the middle part of October, but you're going to miss out on that 50% off registration if you have not yet got your Equip Expo ticket. Hotels are filling up. I was talking to B&B. We're bringing some more people down. We got the posse going, making dinner reservations with a bunch of friends. It's going to be a great time and it's going to be a great week. So make sure you guys just get that in there real quick, timely message. So guys, that being said, let's kick it over to Mr. Producer. We're going to just take the podcast interview away here and catch up with my friend, Seth Kessler.
This is your invitation to L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2023 in Novi, Michigan, Saturday, November 11th. The lineup is power-packed. You won't want to miss it. Learn from incredible speakers like Leroy Maines, Keith Kalfas, Caleb and Brittany Allman, Sam Gimbel, Weston Zimmerman, and Jeff Joyner, just to name a few. Tickets are on sale now at the early bird registration price of $197. And hurry, because seating is limited to just 300. Once you purchase your ticket, you'll be added to our private Facebook group where you can network with other attendees, get access to the discounted hotel room block, and get the inside scoop for the Friday night party, brought to you by Kohler. Thank you to this year's sponsors, Xmark, Sure Track Trailers, Yard Book, and Boss Snowplow for helping to bring this incredible event to life. We can't wait to see you November 11th, Novi, Michigan at L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2023. Get your ticket today at l'entrepreneuracademy.com or use the link in the podcast description. L'Entrepreneur Academy Live.
It's been good. This last month's been nuts. I was involved in an accident with my new truck, and then went to the beach for a week, came back, and then literally the second day I got back, it was my fault. I swiped those concrete barriers at the gas stations to guard the pump.
Yeah.
I caught one with my enclosed trailer and ripped the axle out from underneath it.
Whoa!
It's only a year old, so it was kind of a bad hit.
Whoa! No way. Did you just not check your mirrors or see where it was, or just I mean, obviously those things don't move, but being funny. But
right.
that's like one of my biggest fears out there, man.
Yeah, it was. It's just a force of habit. I mean, I'm sure you do the same thing. We go to the same station like every day, and we pull up the same way every day. And my brother, he's the one that helps me or whatever, and I usually have him watch, and he just didn't see nothing. And before I know it, I hear a loud thud, and we're out in the parking lot. The tire's completely flat. The axle's sitting on the pavement, and I'm like, no.
Whoa, dude, that's crazy. What'd you guys do? What happened?
We limped it over like to the side of the station because there's an old drive-through that went around it, and we sat there. And luckily, we were still in the town like we're based out of. So my grandpa came up, and we jacked up the axle, and we limped it back down through the middle of town, going like 5 miles an hour. And I got it back to my grandparents' house, and it's still sitting there. My grandpa's a welder, so he's been trying to fix it, but I actually had to go buy another trailer at spur at the moment. So
wow, holy cow, man, that's crazy. When you guys say limped it, did you like ratchet strap the axle back to the spring or something, or did it just was it just dragging to totally took out the leaf spring?
Well, the thing is, like the whole spring where it mounts in the frame, it actually ripped the mounts out of the frame, so the whole spring was on the ground too. So there was no way to ratchet strap it up.
Wow, dude,
so we basically just rode the rim all the way back.
Oh my gosh, that's dude. And it's not only does that sting, but dude, I've been there. I one time we pull into the same gas stations, the same side, the same way, like by design. Like I try to teach my guys like habit, and I actually went into the gas station on the left side of the pump because we normally are on the right side of the pump because everything fuels left, and I went on the left side of the pumps. And same thing happened, dude. I pulled forward, filled up the truck, filled up the mowers, whatever it was. And as I was about to hook right, which is hard to do, a sharp right out of the left side of the pump, I literally grounded out my whole trailer. That like concrete 12-inch lip that the pump sits on? Dude, I pulled my whole trailer up on the side and just crunched all that chrome aluminum siding on the bottom. Dude, it's so bad. Like that was, I don't know, a year or two ago. And Kelly and Sons, our trailer dealer, ended up replacing all that trim. Thankfully, it didn't like smash the framing or the wall, which was my biggest concern. But nothing is crazy as hitting those barriers. But dude, I've always like looking at those things, and you see them all scuffed up, scraped up, destroyed, or they're like, knocked over for crying out loud. And you're always like, man, I wonder who hit that. And that wasn't a cheap fix, for whoever did it. So,
and that was me this time.
Dude, right. I literally remember a couple years ago, this is way long ago. Liz had her oldest, an Oldsmobile, a Lero or something like that. I don't even know what it is. An Lero, whatever car. I don't even know if it had a name or a SKU. It was just an Alero. But I remember going to the gas station to fill up her car. She met me there after work one day, and it was snowing. And dude, this thing was like a 15-year-old beater. And I remember us filling up, and it was snowing out, and it was just slick enough where she pulled in and literally like slid into the barrier and hit her corner panel. Right on the barrier. Like, and we were dating for like 3 months, 6 months, I don't even know, and just made this whole dimple on the side of the car, which would go with the rest of the dimples all around her car. But I was like, did you just slide into the pylon? And she's like, yeah, I guess I did. And I'm like, I've never heard anybody actually hitting those things, but it happens, bro. It happens. But
yeah.
What did you guys end up doing with the trailer? Did you get like another enclosed or another utility?
I just went out and bought a utility trailer for the time being. I really didn't want to, drop another, $10,000 on an enclosed this far into the season, you know. And that trailer, like I said, is only a year old, and it's already got like all the lettering and stuff on it. So I'm hoping it's fixable, but you just never know. And I didn't want to, rush the fix and have the Band-Aid fix break, and then your whole livelihood's in there, and it goes tumbling down the interstate. Right.
No, I totally hear you, man. Oh, I mean, with my buddy's got he's got an automotive performance shop, and he says with a little TLC you can get anything going. And his TLC is time and lots of cash. So with the little TLC you can get that thing back on the road, I'm sure, man. But that's frustrating, dude. I'm sorry to hear all that. That's a black eye, mid-season.
Yeah, and the small blackout before that, right before we left for vacation, I was actually hit on the front end of my pickup truck. So it's, not 100% yet either. I'm waiting on the insurance to take care of all their stuff on that.
Jeez.
So it's a nightmare too.
Well, never a dull moment, man, especially in the dog days of summer. That's the last thing you need on your plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, dude, no. We can jump into it because I hit record earlier just to catch up because I think the last time, I think we've talked between now and then, but I know the last time we did a podcast, I was looking at my notes, it was like almost 2 years ago, dude, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I tell you what, a lot has changed since then. A lot of growing has, taken place since then, and it's been a train ride for sure.
Dude, that's awesome. Let's jump into it, man. Because the show's grown a lot, obviously, in those last 2 years, and new listeners every day. And if you guys are new here, welcome to the podcast, welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. Get these guys up to speed, bro. Let's recap like for 2 minutes since last time we had you on the podcast. Where you from? Where you're at? What your business looks like, and we'll kind of crack that egg open a little bit today.
Okay. Yeah. For you guys that don't know, my name is Seth Kessler. I'm 22 years old. I live in a small town called Ansted, West Virginia. Our town has roughly 1,100 people inside city limits, so we're on like a smaller scale population-wise. Like I said on the previous podcast, our whole county has less population than a lot of big cities. Like I think our whole county only has about 45,000 people. My high school graduating class was only about 80 kids. So, everybody knows everybody. Yeah. Everybody knows everybody. And, if you're out on the soccer field, whose grandma is up in the stands screaming. You can just tell by the voice. And, but anyway, yeah, like I said, small town. We're a local lawn and landscape company. I've been doing this. This is my 6th or 7th season. Before I was 18, I ran it kind of under my dad. He kind of got me started into the industry because he was a contractor, and he's since moved on from his own thing. He works for another company now.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, we've grown a lot since then. We've made a big shift over the last 2 years since we were on the podcast before. I know in the last interview we said we were going to be transforming more towards like landscape, hardscape stuff. Mm-hmm. But we're actually doing, believe it or not, we transform more into mowing. That's kind of hard to believe, but we end up getting some big leads on some big commercial accounts that have been just a tremendous blessing to us. So that's really what we're focused on now is just hardcore mowing stuff. And we still do quite a bit of landscaping on the side too.
Dude, that's awesome. And you have the one crew, or do you have a couple crews? I forget.
Right now it's just one crew. It's myself and my little brother. And hopefully, in the next year or so, he's actually 15. He'll be old enough to drive this winter. So hopefully once he's driving, we can get him situated in a crew and stuff. And we have a dump truck we could use for that, or he could go out in a regular mowing truck, and we'll see what time holds for that.
Dude, that's awesome. Heck yeah, man. I'm looking at your IG really quick. And is the accident yours is the white truck and that red truck, is that what smashed you?
Yeah, we were actually out mowing that day, and I turned into a road headed to another gas station actually, and this truck was coming at us, and I could just tell he wasn't going to stop. You just have that feeling he's not going to stop.
Sure.
And I see him coming, and I looked at my brother. I was like, just hold on. It looks like he's going to hit us. And there was nothing I could do. He smacked right into us. The police said he was probably going about 25 to 30. And he smacked into us, and turns out he was driving with no brakes. That's why he didn't stop.
Whoa.
So he plowed right into the side of my truck, and, my truck's a 2022 F-250, and it only had like 10,000 miles on it. And, we're sitting here, already been hit. But I actually, luckily enough, I got to drive away from the accident, and he had to be, towed. So this is a +1 for all the Ford guys. You took a Chevy off the road that day.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
But yeah. I hate it, but it is what it is. Nobody was hurt. That's the important thing. And now it's just dealing with the headache of fighting with insurance companies. He said, she said, kind of thing, and you know how it goes. Yeah.
No, I was just talking to. Actually, the camping neighbor went camping over the weekend, and we bought this fifth wheel and opened it up and all this mess. And the neighbor had this cool black F-250, like Harley Davidson edition one. It's a little older, maybe, I don't know, 2014, something like that. Whatever it was, but it's a cool looking truck, and had like the orange pinstripe and the flame. And he got hit, and he goes, because the truck is so old, he's like, man, I'm still fighting insurance for to replace everything, to stock, to standard. And he's like, man, it's like a 3-month process. And dude, if any of you guys, are dealing with this stuff, man, I'm with you. Like, it sucks. One of my guys, Mark, he got hit, dude, like early spring in May or June, like first or second week of us all back mowing. He actually unfortunately hit a car on the highway in bumper to bumper traffic in the morning, but smashed his whole truck end. And dude, it's August, okay, at the time of this recording. He's just got like a week left until he gets it back. He gave us an update, like 3 months, bro. Thankfully, he's got a motorcycle, and he's been riding that to work every day. But dude, it's frustrating dealing with insurance, man. It really is. For all you guys that have owner operator business or one truck, just, I don't know, keep some money in the bank, or buy that second, kind of 10 grand truck if you have to, or if you can one day. And don't, I always say, don't spend all your money on clothes and stupid stuff. Because I mean, like one hit and you're like you just said at the top of the show, like your livelihood's gone. I mean, it's a really dangerous kind of balancing act there,
Yeah, that's how I felt with that trailer accident, because, I have a spare truck, and I literally just sold my extra utility trailer because I was like, I've got this flagship box trailer now. We don't really need it, just sitting around.
Sure.
And then that happens, and, that sick stomach feeling, why did you get rid of that other trailer? Now you need a trailer. So it just happens.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, some of you guys have like a utility trailer that you might sell off. You're like, well, you're only going to get $500 for it anyway. You might as well just keep it. And God forbid something does happen to your main trailer, at least you got a backup. That was, I've been lately trying to get like 2 of everything the last year or 2 because, or even a third, just because, you want to have that margin in your business. And, I'm still heavily reinvesting into the company every single day that we can, just to have backups, So yeah, amen. Yeah. What, I want to go back to the mowing, man. You said, you wanted to get more into landscaping, and then, you actually, ironically enough, got, bigger in mowing. What was the, reason for wanting to do more landscaping, and then what ended up, happening, with so much more mowing? Like, do you have some new accounts that came your way, or some subcontracting, or what happened there?
But really what happened was the crew I had, or really the guy I had with me, last time I was on the podcast, he was like a masonry guy. He had a masonry certification.
Okay.
And whatever. So we were going to get into some like hardscaping stuff. We actually did a retaining wall and, some stuff like that. But he actually moved on and went to a different job. And then that's when my brother stepped in. He was finally old enough to come and help me. And I don't know if you know this or not, but right here in the local area, our local area was just deemed the newest national park in the country. It's the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve. And there's been a lot of uptake in like rentals and Airbnbs. Our local town, like where the park is at, is Fayetteville. It's actually our county seat. They've gotten so many Airbnbs in town now that the town finally had to, shut it off. There was so many people coming and buying up property.
Whoa,
that
really?
They capped out. Yeah, they capped out. I think there's 350 Airbnbs in that little town alone. And I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot for like a big city, but I mean, there's only like 5,000 residents in that whole town. So that just kind of puts it in perspective of how many just Airbnbs there are in that small town.
What's this small town, and what's the allure? Would you guys have like a local attraction or something, or?
Well, it's the town. It's like the gateway to that new national park. It's the national park's like located right beside that town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, it's when we were at Big Sky, the same thing for Together in the Trades. Like it's all. They said it used to be millionaires that could own the property around Big Sky, but it's forced everybody out because of the cost of living up there, because it's so beautiful that it's only billionaires now, and they call it oil money or Saudi money. Like, and that's typically what happens in these resort areas. When we went to the Stein Eriksen Lodge over in Park City, Utah. Dude, everybody walking around looked like Eastern European, and I'm just saying, like it's just true. Like I don't know if I don't know how their money's doing since the Russia-Ukraine thing, but it's a whole nother story. But everybody there was crispy looking, like or Eastern European, Russian kind of looking, and that's just where the money is for some of these resort towns. But now everybody's like forced down the mountain, back down to Bozeman and some of the surrounding suburbs, because you can't live up those areas because it's just priced out, or like you said, all Airbnb stuff now.
Right, and that's pretty much what's happening here. There's a lot of like local people. Like, think about the high school kids that are graduating. They want to live here locally, and they can't.
Oh,
it's
no
hard
way.
to find property because everything's Airbnbs now. And they get in these bidding wars. You know, if a house starts out at, just for an example, $100,000, by the time the bidding war is over, it's at $250,000, $300,000 because,
Right.
you know, these people coming in from out of state to make rental money. And I mean, I'm all for, you know, more business and whatever. I mean, it's hard for some of the locals though, and if you get what I'm saying.
Oh, all day, man. Liz and I said the same thing. Like we couldn't even afford, you know, a home a couple years ago because of how ridiculous people were paying over sticker and all this other mess. The only saving grace for a lot of these folks was the interest rate. But, you know, now it's like you got a 7% rate with, you know, 25% higher price homes. It's dude, it's so challenging. I told my wife, I'm like, if you're under 30, I just don't know, unless you literally just slingshot, you know, your income until you're 30, 35 and go make 100 to 200 grand a year with your small business or your career. Dude, that first starter home, I just don't know how people are going to ever get there. It's just, especially with a 7% interest rate, there's no way.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I tell you, to bring it up, me and my wife were blessed. We actually, we bought a house, in the midst of all this, and it couldn't have worked out any better. Just short story. It's a house. It's 2 houses down from where I grew up, my parents' house. And we're actually, we got it for hardly nothing, you know, just how it worked out. And we're actually going to have it paid for in the next 3 years. And it's a nice house. So,
dude, that's awesome.
4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and it was built in 2007. So, I mean, it's relatively new still. And I mean, if the Lord wasn't looking out for us, we definitely wouldn't have landed anything like that any other way. So,
dude, that's awesome. Well, congratulations on that, man. That's awesome. Well, let me go back to the Mason friend of yours that was working for you guys. So you were had the trajectory to get into more hardscaping. Did he end up moving on, or did you let him go, or what happened there?
He ended up moving on. He had he was starting to have a family and things, and he was looking for more like a job that provided benefits and stuff. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there was no bad terms. We're still friends, whatever. He wanted, you know, benefits and retirement. That's just, we're not there yet. You know, being a small business, we can't offer like healthcare and stuff yet.
Sure.
And that's really why he moved on. He was looking out for, you know, his kid, and I completely understand, and no hard feelings, like I said.
Okay. So did that like freak you out though? Cause it was like a step backwards and then you're now scrambling, or did you, what was the whole story there?
Yeah, it was a little nerve wracking because, you know, we'd had conversations, you know, he's going to be here for, you know, the long term. And, you know, he was great. He was one of those guys you could give him the whole rig if you needed to, and you could trust him, you know, him and somebody else to go out and, you know, to take care of everything. If you had something come up last minute on the off hours, you could call him and he'd be there. It was definitely it was a scare, especially because I really didn't have anybody else in mind. And you know how the hiring process is. People say they want a job and then they don't show up.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And luckily, like I said, my little brother, he was just getting old enough and he stepped up to the plate. And I mean, he's been wide open ever since, and he's been a great, great help to the company. And I look for him to take it over or, you know, run a crew one day. So,
dude, that's awesome. Is that where you guys decided to get more into mowing then, to, you know, round out 40 hours for both of you guys, or how did that work?
Yeah, really, my brother, he was more wanting to do the mowing thing, and I already had a good base of customers. We were probably already doing, you know, 65, 70 accounts.
Okay.
Even on top of like doing the hardscaping and some of the landscaping stuff with the other guy. We landed a couple large commercial accounts. We landed a hospital that's a next town over, and it's a once-a-week cut, and it pays very well. We landed a big wedding venue site, and, you know, it's a weekly cut, and just adding those bigger accounts with the money they're bringing in, I didn't really see a point to try to, you know, stretch us too thin, and, you know, trying to do a bunch of landscaping, trying to keep the big mowing customers happy. You know, we still filter into little landscaping jobs here and there. And, you know, if like one of our former customers wants something done, we'll do it for them type deal. But we're really focused on mowing. I like to get in and get out, you know, try to make the days as predictable as possible.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
What are you guys doing for a schedule? Are you guys mowing 4 days a week, 5 days a week?
Well, funny thing is, at the beginning of the year, I told him, I was like, I want to try to mow Monday through Thursday and take Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. But I think we've been mowing Monday through Saturday and taking Sundays off.
Right. Just for you get the heat or the rain, or just that much work, or all of the above?
All of the above, pretty much. The rain hasn't been that bad this summer. And as I say that, it's actually raining right now. So this is, you know, perfect time to do a podcast.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been too bad. We've just been overloaded with work, and it's just the two of us, and we're handling, you know, about 65 accounts, and some of those bigger ones, like that hospital, it's an all-day thing by itself, and I'm just counting that as one account.
Right.
So I mean, it's a lot to handle with two people, but
that's awesome. Yeah, it's one of the questions that and I say this with love, but like that bothers me is when I get DMs with people and they're like on Instagram, they're like, "Hey, how many accounts do you guys mow?" And I'm like, well, I mean, it's about 85 to 90, but like you said, 2 or 3 or 4 of them are 7 to 10 acre HOA sites, and they're a $475 weekly mow, a $425 weekly mow. I mean, they're big sites. I mean, big enough sites. And so I'm always like, I don't know how to answer that question because I don't want to discourage or encourage people from one thing or the other. But it's like, it not like a credibility check either. But I'm like, dude, it's such a wrong question. Like, how many accounts do you have? It's more like, hey, how much revenue do you do per day, or how much revenue do you do per week or per month?
Exactly.
that would be a much better measuring point of like what you're trying to aim for. Because you're like, hey, a weekly mow could be $50, or it could be, like you just said, $1,200 to do a hospital or a retirement community. I don't know. So it's just one of those things. Like, if you guys have questions, like, talk revenue, daily income goals. Like, what's your daily revenue that you're trying to produce for your company? And then let's start there and grow. Let's work backwards with overhead, and then backwards from that for profit. So just a little side rant there. So it's been 2 years since we got able to catch up, man. So you guys are doing a lot more mowing, still doing landscape when you guys can fit it in. But what have you personally grown, over the last 2 years with your vision for the company and where you're deciding to take this business? Because I mean, it's we're all right now just trying to stay motivated, stay out of the heat. Some of you guys are dealing with 110 degree stuff, out in the Midwest and Plain States and Oklahoma and Texas. Where do you see the company right now with the growth you've had, and where you plan to go for the next couple of years?
Well, I'll tell you what really started the whole growth thing. It's kind of, I don't know if you'd say silly to look back now. I actually had a mowing customer. I mean, I probably mowed his yard for 4 or 5 years, and he called me up one day. It was early spring, a couple years ago, and he's like, "Hey, we need to talk. Can you swing by one day?" And I was like, "Yeah, is something wrong?" He said, No, just, swing by. I need to talk to you about something.
Okay.
And, instantly, you get nervous. You don't know, you're like, did you mess something up? Something wrong. And I went to this guy's house, and I mean, he's a well-paying customer, and he's got a pretty good name around here. He's a boss at a large construction outfit. And, he looked at me and he's like, don't take this the wrong way, but you don't deserve my business anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you did nothing wrong, but I am not the type of customer that you need anymore.
Okay.
He said, and I feel like I'm holding you back from what you can actually do. So I don't want you mowing my grass anymore. And I'm like, you're standing there just taking this in. I'm like, did he really just say that to me? And I'm like,
it's like, what do I?
He's like, you're stunting your own growth by not either charging me so much that I can't afford your services, or just dropping me and go get somebody that pays, 3 times as much as I do for the time it takes you to do my yard. He said, you need to be focused on these big accounts. You have a great name in the community now. You're well established. You have all the nicest, newest equipment around. You need to go after the big money jobs. And I was like, I can't believe a customer's telling me this. And I got back in my truck, I'm not going to lie, I was a little brokenhearted. He's been a friend and a customer for years, and he just told me this. But looking back on it, I mean, that was probably the best advice I've ever got.
Wow. What did you feel like? Like, were you like, he's right, he's wrong, like, this is weird? I mean, it's kind of a weird, like, it's like, there's only so many people that can like just pierce your heart or like cut right through the facade. You know what I mean? So how did that feel, or what was the story there?
Right. It was weird. And I got back in my truck, and as I was driving home, it was one of those drives where you don't turn the radio on, you don't look at your phone. It's just
sure.
like a heart-to-heart drive. And I was like, you know what? I think this guy's actually right. I got home and started looking at people, like looking at the lists and stuff. And I was like, we've got to make a change. And since then, it's, and I kid you not, just show you that the Lord was in it. 2 weeks later, that hospital calls me. And one of the maintenance guys at the hospital, he knew me, knew my family, and he recommended they were looking for someone to cut their grass because the maintenance guys were doing it. And what they were doing is they were cutting a couple hours each day So by the time it was all cut, it needed to cut again, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they were getting, the hospital staff was getting tired of it, looking bad. So we got that account. We didn't have to bid it out. There's no bidding where I set a price and they took it. So I just felt like it all just fell into place. And looking back, I would go back to that customer and just say thank you. I mean, it really couldn't have worked out any better than how it did. At the time, I was worried. Like I said, I was a little heartbroken about it, but it turned out to be better than I could ever imagine. So.
Man, that's awesome. That's a unique story for sure. Because I don't think I've had anybody really like pull me to the side and say, "Hey, you're better than this." You know what I mean? You're like, "I know, dude, but thanks for believing in me," right? Like one of those deals. So
right.
What was he right? I mean, what happened since then? With did you change your mentality about the quality of work that you guys do, the standard that you guys do? Have you raised your prices since then? Like how if you can quantify that conversation forward, what changed from there?
But really, yeah, we raised prices on some, and really I try to stay away from the harder properties, like the properties that aren't well maintained, if that makes sense. I like more like the higher class stuff. Like I like doing businesses, commercial sites. The higher end residentials. I mean, we still do a couple residentials that we started with, but none of them are like, they're not the properties that when you show up, you're like, oh, we're back here again. Like I hate this yard. We're trying to like get away from those type of properties. Cause I just put a lot of negative morale on me and, any help that I would have. And it makes the day go by better when you enjoy the properties that you're servicing. Yeah,
dude, I love that. I love everything you just said. There's times where I was mowing properties and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like I hate doing this lawn. And it's like, Bro, you own your own business. Like you shouldn't necessarily have to say that stuff. Like, yes, there's stuff that we all do that we don't want to do, but that's not what I'm saying. There's times where you're just like detested by like what you're doing. And you're like, wait a minute, I can like let this customer go and like cancel somebody and not be burdened or slaved by my own company. Like, dude, that's funny. Right. That's funny. But like, I remember there's a home on Drakeshire Drive, right down the road from where I'm at in a subdivision. And the guy's septic tank leached or leaked or whatever you call it. And he ended up doing like this, I don't know, $20,000 excavation on his front yard. And the lawn, it's always smelled funky. And it was really weird. And, looking back, we didn't know what we didn't know until we saw one day we drove up to his lawn. And, dude, he's got a hole that is 30 feet by 30 feet in a mound of dirt 40 feet high in his front yard. I mean, this isn't a subdivision, bro. And I just realized like, oh my God, his lawn is growing like a fertilized weed because it's got 24-hour fertilizer, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
And dude, we were double cutting this thing, triple cutting this thing, left, right, up, down. We could never like totally make it look nice because it just grew literally 8 inches a week. And I was getting like $25 a cut. I should have been a $50 cut back then for all I know. And I just remember like literally telling the guy like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm literally gonna have to let you go. And he was a type of customer that it was really hard to say no to. And I'll just leave it at that because he was a very persuasive personality. And but I was like, dude, I ended up letting that guy go and canceling. And it was the best thing that ever happened like for my company way back then. I was like, I can cancel people. Like I'm in charge of my customers. I can build my own route. So like, dude, I know it sounds funny, but the story that you're just sharing, I can totally relate where sometimes you're just like, you want to be happy about the work that you do and the customers that you have, and feel proud, of the business that you're building. Like something that's reflective of your company. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. I totally agree.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, dude, that's all I really got for like anything I have for like thoughts. Just hearing your guys' story, man. The last 2 years and the growth that you guys had, like super awesome to circle back and catch up on some things, man. Just open mic, dude. Anything you want to lead these guys? Any purchases or lessons learned or anything you're excited about the fall, like Equip or LEL? I don't know if you're going to either of those, but just open mic, man. What else you got?
Yeah. I got a couple things actually. I won't be long, I promise. No,
you're good.
We're planning to go to Equip again this year. We went down last year. Actually, we met up with you there for just a brief second there, and got pictures and went our separate ways. You know how it is at Equip. It's busy, but just kind of a side note. Since the last time we were on, we have like a core group of friends, and everybody. I just thought this was really cool. Everybody, had a 9 to 5, and was just doing the deal, whatever. And I just thought I'd share. Almost all of our friends now have went self-employed in some route. You know, I was like the first one to be self-employed. Now my wife has her own business. She left the 9-to-5 she was at.
Oh, wow.
She has her own shop now. Two of my other good buddies, one of them started a diesel repair business, and the other one of my best friends, he actually started an excavating company. And they've all, you know, we've all kind of fed off of each other. They've gotten ideas from me. I've helped them, you know, with all the state stuff and everything else. And I've helped my wife basically, you know, cash flow the start of her business. And it was just another one of those things that was, you know, right place, right time. The Lord worked it out for us to get her business started. And it's just been a complete 180, like even with just our friend group since the last time we talked. And it's been really encouraging to have other self-employed people in your core group of friends, if that makes sense, because they didn't get it to begin with. Like you would talk to them about, you know, a customer being, you know, manager, whatever, or, you know, taxes, this, equipment, that, and you know, they understood, but they didn't. But now they really understand. I'll get a phone call every couple of days, and they're like, I finally understand what you were saying.
Yeah. So they get the stress, they get the excitement, they get the nervousness, the jitters, you know, all the above.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And then something breaks and they call me. It's like, what do I do? You know, this is my problem. And I was like, exactly. You know, you have to work through it. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it sucks. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's you. You're not doing it for somebody else. You know, you got to encourage them to keep going. And I know my wife, she loves being self-employed now. It was a challenge with everything, you know, getting through all the process and headache that was. But she's happy. She's doing good. She just finished her first full month in business.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Heck yeah.
I couldn't be more proud of her and all the hard work she's done. So.
Well, when she has the high highs, you know, you can high five and, you know, congratulate her on the new customers or new sales or what, you know, whatever. And when she has the low lows, you can be there to pick her up. And like I'm sure she's picked you up off the ground 100 times. So,
yeah,
that's my story, at least with my wife. I have high highs and low lows. I'm like, high five, we just got a new customer. And then it's like the next day, it's like commercial account complaints. And you're like, why do I even do this? You know, it's like the manic depressiveness of being self-employed sometimes, you know what I mean? So that's awesome. Right. That's awesome. Well, way to be.
I joke with her.
Yeah, go ahead.
I joke with her and I say that she's my retirement plan.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I keep saying that with our kids. I said, we're going to have four kids. I'm going to name them 401 and K, you know, and so that's all I got. But that is really important though, man, that you can be somebody. I was just going to add that you can be somebody not only in your you know family, but in your community for somebody to lean on, somebody that can give an encouraging word to other people that are pursuing self-employment or, you know, entrepreneurship. So, you know, it's like you pour all this stuff into you from the podcasts and audiobooks and physical books and conferences and trade shows. And then I always tell people, like, don't be like a black hole where it all just gets sucked into you. Like, dude, dish it out. Like, you know, you don't just be a sponge. That's fine. That's good. But like, the idea is to spread it around, man. Like, share it, pass it on, pay it forward, whatever you want to say. And frankly, you can't take in more unless you're giving it out. Like, if your cup is full, that's fine. But the goal isn't to just have a full cup. The goal is to take that cup and to continue to pour it out and pay it forward to the next person. And by doing that, it gives you capacity to take on more as well. So it's like, it's this reciprocity, this paying it forward, and that's how self-development grows, yourself personally, and of course professionally, man. So it's awesome. That's really cool, man. That's a really cool testimony of your personal growth and success the last couple of years, man. And I just want to say congratulations again, man. That's really, really awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And just to show you the power of the podcast, right after the last episode we did aired or whatever, I was actually getting tires on my truck at the local tire shop. And I was walking back to my truck, you know, I had my company shirt on and, you know, we had the company decals on the truck. And This guy goes, "Hey, Kessler." And I'm like, I look back, had no idea who this guy was. And, you know, he was about my age or whatever. He walked up to me. He said, "I heard you on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Just wanted to say, hey, I've got a lawn business here right on the other side of town. And just wanted to say, hey." And I was like,
no way. That's awesome.
His name's Austin. You know, we're good buddies now. We, you know, send each other leads. We help each other out when we can. And, you know, he's been, you know, 30 minutes from me my whole life. And I didn't know until, you know, just the the time was just right. He heard on the podcast, he reached out, and, we've seen each other, and, now we're good buds.
Yeah.
I just thought that was incredible.
That is insane, dude. That is really, really cool. There's so many stories like that of connections we've maybe helped broker, but just, other people in the community or industry from trade shows and other podcasts, I know Jesse Widener and Dylan Stevenson are buds over there in Springfield, Ohio, and because of social media, and Cornell Mack over in Pittsburgh. I get guys all the time messaging me from Pennsylvania and hitting the greater Pittsburgh area. And I'm like, dude, I have no idea how your market works. Go talk to Cornell. There's a bunch of great people. In fact, he's got a Facebook group with 100 local business owners, part of the Pittsburgh market. And I'm like, you guys should make friends. You should go to meetups. You should go network. I literally was just this morning doing end of month billing. And last thing I'll add is I'm getting a couple customer, inquiries for work, like some pruning work, some planting work. And I'm just brokering with this guy. We got some irrigation work, broker with this guy. And we're just solving problems. But we got our network of guys. I've got probably, no less than 10 grand worth of pruning work that I just sent out to another friend. And it's like, dude, it's just like a well-oiled machine. But we wouldn't have done all this if we didn't have social media. It doesn't mean being a YouTuber, you know what I mean? But it's like, right. Dude, at least have an Instagram, at least have a Facebook where people can get a hold of you and refer business. Or I just sent, possibly $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 worth of commercial work to my friend Jake Meisner. He's 30 minutes north of me, and I'm getting so many calls and inquiries from subcontractor type companies that want to sub all this stuff out. Dude, from it's crazy. Guys, network. I'm telling you, I'm thinking out loud. I've sent stuff to Paul over there with Bitch and Lawns in Ann Arbor area. Henrik the lawn care kid. I need some guys in Canton, Michigan. If anybody knows Canton, Michigan, give me a holler. But make friends, dude. So just like you were meeting your other friend, that's what it's all about, dude. That's the power of social media. Amen. But and what was your brother's name again, by the way? Was it Colton, right?
Yeah, Colton. That's my little brother. Yeah,
that's right. I was gonna say I remember meeting him and you guys at the booth, and you guys were awesome, man. It's never a dull moment, man. So Equip Expo 2023. If you didn't get your ticket yet, there's your plug to use code Brian and save 50%. And take care of that ASAP because the early bird registration is going to end here probably in another month. So make sure you guys are locking those tickets down, and same thing with your LAL tickets if you guys are coming up to Michigan in November. But that's all I got for right now, man. I'll probably have to land the plane right there because I got an 11 o'clock. I got a back-to-back here. So always good catching up, dude, and see what you guys got going on. Any parting thoughts? But dude, appreciate you taking time to be on the show this morning.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me, and just one other thing, all these hard things happen with the truck wreck, the trailer accident, and you just have to, put your head down and keep pushing forward because, if you stop, your company can stop. You just have to power through the tough times. You have to look to God to guide you in the way you need to go, and you just have to, like Brian said, find that core group of guys that you can just network with and help each other out. Like my friends that have all started these companies, it's great because, if my truck goes down, I can call a buddy and he can fix it. If I need a subcontractor for an excavating job, I just make a phone call and he's there. I've got a buddy that's a tree service. I can call him, just have a core group of people around you and just make sure to give all you can to them and pour into them and help them and they'll do the same for you. And just, like I said, just keep pushing forward.
I love it, man. I love it. Wise words, brother. Well, hey, where can people find you, man? And we'll button this thing up.
We're on all major social media platforms. We're on Facebook. Instagram is Kesslers Property Management. That's really where I post more of the stuff I'm trying to relate to people on social media. Our Facebook's more like the customer side. We're on Facebook. It's Kesslers Property Management. You can find me on Instagram. It's Seth_Kessler 3393. And if anybody has any questions or just wants to catch up sometime, feel free to reach out. I'll do whatever I can to help you. And whatever you need, just give me a shout.
I love it, brother. Awesome. Well, that's what we got, man. Thanks for taking time to circle back with us and follow up. Great last 2 years of growth. And let's make sure we don't go another 2 years before getting another update. We'll check back in for winter, maybe check back in next spring and keep tabs on you guys and all the growth that you guys are having, man. So thanks again for joining us today.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Well, that's what we got for you on today's podcast and episode, guys. Always appreciate you listening in. I love highlighting your guys' growth and your guys' success. If you guys have a good story to tell, shoot me an email. Love to get some different guests on and see what makes sense. Do a little Q&A back and forth. Make sure things line up to make sense to get you guys on the show. But, dude, it's an open mic, man. We would love to hear what you guys got going on. There's no benchmark. There's no revenue goal. There's no qualification in terms of having to have a certain size business to be a guest interview on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, guys. We just love hearing about growth. We're passionate about growth, and we want to make sure that we're highlighting your guys' success along the way. So if you guys are new to the show, I invite you guys to hit the thumbs up or the plus button or the subscribe or the follow, depending on whatever podcast app you guys are using. But if you hit plus button and you hit follow, you'll get notifications and notified anytime we drop a new episode, which is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it automatically downloads to your phone. That way it's ready to go first thing in the morning as you guys are ready to run out there and cut grass or do landscaping and all the above. So that's what we got for you guys. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review if you guys are enjoying the show, and let us know what you guys think. We always appreciate that feedback and definitely helps with the ratings and reviews. So thank you so much for that. Guys, that's what I got for you on today's podcast. We're going to kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, down in the ATL, and we will catch up with you guys here on the next one.
Early bird registration ends September 7th.
Start planning today to celebrate the 40th Equip Exposition Trade Show
This October 17th through the 20th
in Louisville, Kentucky. Expo is the best place for landscapers to find the latest equipment, tools, and technology to get more productive and efficient. And then you can go into our 30-acre demo yard and test the products for yourself. Explore new business opportunities in one of our 50-plus education sessions and learn firsthand from experts in landscaping, hardscaping, irrigation, pool installation, tree care, and outdoor lighting. And don't miss the new Thursday night arena concert with Third Eye Blind and Dylan Scott. Also, there's our UTV test track and our main stage events with top-notch speakers like Brian Fullerton, all for just $25 per person if you register during our early bird sale. And you can even save 50% off that price with the coupon code BRIAN. The early bird registration ends September 7th.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.